It seems, Olly, that there seems to be an assessment that there's a need to involve police more in enforcing issues around people staying at home and issues around, the behavior of people around this time of COVID-19. What are the measures and what do they tell us about where we are in as far as the response to COVID-19 is concerned?
Well, police are playing a role here in the UK in enforcing some of these social distancing guidelines, directives that are coming from the UK government as part of the lockdown, which is now just over a week old so far. One of the difficulties has been that emergency legislation has been passed here in the UK surrounding coronavirus COVID-19 and the enforcement of lockdown restrictions, which does give police more powers. So police can go up to groups of people, for example, in parks and order them to disperse. If people don't follow the guidelines, police can hand them on-the-spot fines of around 60, 70 rand to begin with, but that cost of those fines can actually rise if people are repeat offenders. So the police are playing an important role in making sure that British people are following the advice, are staying at home where possible, are only travelling for so-called essential journeys. But there has been some criticism of some police forces for being slightly overzealous in their interpretation of their role in all of this. We have, for example, seen one police force in Derbyshire using drones to follow people out walking in one of the parks up there. We've seen some reports of police officers questioning shoppers about why they're buying chocolate Easter eggs. We're questioning whether that is an essential item to be buying at this time. Well, some people have pushed back a little bit at that and said, look, the government advice is that I can and I should go for one walk or jog per day, and that perhaps the police shouldn't be so stringent in checking up on people doing that. I am being told I can go to the shops for my essential goods. If I'm there and I see an Easter egg, am I not allowed to add that to my shopping basket or trolley? So certainly the government is saying that it's very supportive of the police in their role in all of this, but at the same time, ministers are quietly advising police forces, as are some national police bodies, that they do need to be sensible, they do need to exercise common sense, and they do need to have that uniform tone and style up and down the country as well.
Sure. So it's interesting, Olly, to see the parallels between the debates that we are having here in South Africa about the role of police and the debates that you are having in the UK. This all comes, Olly, as the situation is becoming quite real for everyone in the United Kingdom. The rise in the number of people who are dying. Where do we stand at the moment?
We stand at 1,408 deaths of people who had tested positive for coronavirus. Now, it's important the way we describe that, because that doesn't necessarily mean that all of those people died directly because they had COVID-19. Many of them had very serious underlying health conditions. Many were very elderly indeed. Nonetheless, that is a large number. It is a number that is rising by the day. One small piece of encouragement we've had in the last couple of days is that rise in the number of deaths over each 24-hour period hasn't been accelerating over the last few days. In fact, it's dropped back a little bit in terms of the pace of the growth. That is giving some encouragement to the government and to the British population, but no complacency here. The scientists and government ministers and the Prime Minister continue to warn that there is likely to be an acceleration in the number of cases, but also in the number of deaths here in Britain. We are still hearing from the chief scientists and medical officers here in the UK that to keep the number of deaths below 20,000 would be regarded as something of an achievement here in the UK. So Britain certainly braced for a period in which things get a lot worse before they get better.
All right, live for us in London, ENCA's Olly Barratt there with that update. It really does make for sobering reading when you hear people talking about if you keep the number of deaths in the UK to below 20,000, it will be something of an achievement. And there, the one minister there, Michael Gove, saying that there's a chance that the lockdown could be extended for what he is calling a significant period of time. Uncharted territory all round for all of us.